Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings.
Today's podcast is sponsored by SLI Systems, providers of intelligent site search and navigation solutions. Learn more at sli-systems.com and listen to their interviews at ecommercepodcast.com. Welcome to E-Commerce Conversations, a weekly podcast focusing on e-commerce topics featuring interviews with prominent people in the e-commerce space.
Welcome to E-Commerce Conversations by Practical E-Commerce. My name is Kerry Murdoch. Mobile devices, such as the iPhone and the BlackBerry, continue to gain in popularity. Many experts believe these devices will become the primary internet access machines of the future. Already, the iPhone offers hundreds of third-party applications, and is one of those application providers that's joining us today. Derek Del Conte is the co-founder of Interfence, and his company has developed a credit card terminal that can be run on an iPhone. Well, Derek, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for the opportunity, Kerry.
Sure. Derek, tell us, why should an e-commerce merchant be interested in a mobile credit card terminal, such as the one you offer on an iPhone?
So many e-commerce merchants also sell directly to their customers through fairs, exhibitions, or while just performing on-site services. And that's exactly what our credit card terminal product for the iPhone was made for. It's really easy for those types of merchants to get started using credit card terminal because many e-commerce merchants already have the right accounts set up. For example, if you already have an authorized .NET account, all you need to do is download the iPhone app and you're off and able to process mobile transactions.
That's interesting. So if a merchant is, say, just to expand on your example, if they're at a trade show, if they're anywhere off-site selling products, they have their iPhone with them that's got your app on it. They can process a credit card right then and there. They don't have to have their laptop. Exactly.
They can just use their iPhone anywhere that they have a data connection available to them.
Do you know other merchants, Derek? Are there merchants right now that are using your app?
Yeah, so we have a lot of different merchants in all different areas. So I can tell you a little bit about the areas that merchants have focused in. First off, the iPhone's a great device, like you mentioned, to accept payment because you're carrying it with you all of the time. And since it doesn't require any additional hardware, it's just your iPhone, it gives you a lot of flexibility about how and where you might accept payment. So, for example, we have several merchants that are in the handmade craft and apparel industry. They have their e-commerce site set up, and they sell their goods there, but then they also sell at a fair on the weekend. And oftentimes, some of these items can be high ticket. So the ability to accept credit card payments has resulted in additional sales and also lowered their transaction risk. We also have customers that perform on-site services. So you could take someone like an IT professional who's going to go out and fix a network and then charge for it, or carpenters, electricians, plumbers. Those are all really good examples. Additionally, we have people that are limo drivers, professional photographers, home cleaning services, and in-party sales. And the mobile transactions are just another part of their overall strategy for sales.
For an iPhone user, do they have to be connected to the web for this to work? Will it just work over their cell network, or do they have to be connected to the web?
Yeah, so credit card terminal on the iPhone works anywhere that you have data connectivity. So that includes AT&T's Edge and 3G cell networks. You can also use credit card terminal on internet Wi-Fi spots, but that's strictly optional. We've made things very fast, even when using it to process credit cards over the cell networks.
What does it cost for listeners there that are interested? What would they pay for the credit card terminal? It's called Credit Card Terminal is the name of it, isn't it, of that application?
Yeah, it's called Credit Card Terminal. That's what you'd see it listed as in the iPhone App Store. It costs $49.99 in the App Store, and that's a one-time payment for the software. And then to use it, you'd need an authorized .net account. Unlike many other mobile solutions, there's no additional hardware to rent, and there are no additional monthly fees for being able to accept mobile payments.
So the iPhone App Store, if someone's listening to this, if they're interested, if they're not familiar with the iPhone App Store, tell our listeners where that is.
Yeah, so the iPhone App Store is available through iTunes. So if you have iTunes on your computer, you can go and click on App Store. And if you wanted to find Credit Card Terminal, you could just search for Credit Card Terminal, and it'll show up there as an available application.
For our listeners that are used to paying credit card processing fees, if you have an e-commerce site, you're certainly accepting credit cards and paying processing fees. What are the processing fees for using your app versus, say, what they're using on their e-commerce site?
Sure. Let me explain that. That's actually a really good question. When we first started looking at merchant account providers online, it was very hard to sort of figure out what the rates and what the complete package was until after you'd signed up for an account. So one of the things that we've tried to do is we've tried to create a really simple table on our main site for Credit Card Terminal that makes the total cost upfront and very clear. And so if you sign up for an authorized .net and a merchant account through us, it comes out in the following way. You've bought our app, so it's $49.99 upfront for the app. And then on the merchant account side, it's $25 per month, 19 to 24 cents per transaction. And then the qualified discount rate is 2.09%, and the non-qualified discount rate is 3.79%. We've eliminated application, sign-up, minimum processing, and termination fees, so you won't have any of that on the account that we offer through our site. And additionally, we've made it really easy with our application to run qualified transactions by supporting AVS, address verification, and including the zip code right on the main screen of the terminal. But I just want to be clear about this. As I said, if you already have an authorized .net account that you're happy with, you can just download Credit Card Terminal and get started. You can use one authorized .net account with both your e-commerce site and our Credit Card Terminal app.
So you don't need a separate merchant account if you already have an authorized .net set up.
That's exactly right, and that's why it's especially convenient for e-commerce merchants if they're already using authorized .net.
That makes sense. Now the rates that you quoted, I'm not a credit card expert for sure, Derek, but those rates struck me as very much in line with what most merchants are paying already or otherwise with their current setup.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we've tried to give very reasonable rates that are very upfront, and they're very similar to what existing e-commerce merchant accounts will often charge.
Tell us a little bit about you, Derek. What's your background? Interfence, your company Interfence. How did you come to co-found Interfence?
Yeah, so Ryan Johnson, who's another co-founder of Interfence, and we previously worked on enterprise security products at Microsoft. At the end of 2007, I think it was, we decided to start a web venture. And then in the beginning of 2008, we picked up iPhone. As we were using them, we kind of felt like the combination of the high-resolution screen, the touch interface, and having reasonable internet connectivity basically anywhere you go was really sort of a compelling little package. We kind of figured that Apple had hit on a phone that was good for much more than just phone calls and email. So when the release of the SDK came around, and that SDK is what enabled us to write iPhone applications, our own iPhone applications, we started to think about how the iPhone's features might be applied to business. And we pretty quickly hit on credit card payments, which is something that nearly every business needs. And we saw this possibility for increasing both the availability and the efficiency of on-location credit card processing. And that's how we arrived at building and releasing Credit Card Terminal for iPhone.
Our listeners, of course, are e-commerce merchants by and large. Anything else on your mind for them today?
Yeah, so our merchants are generally curious about two other things that I'll kind of mention here. One, they're curious about the receipts. How does the receipt work? And two, how do they get to their transaction reporting? How do they see those mobile transactions that they've done? So on the receipt side, to generate a receipt, all that a merchant needs to do is collect the customer's email address at the transaction when they're doing the transaction. So it's just like an e-commerce transaction. The customer will receive an email receipt that's a record of that transaction. On the reporting side, both your mobile and your e-commerce transactions show up in the authorized.net reporting interface. So what that means is you sort of have this one convenient place to view all of your transactions. So if you do things like export to QuickBooks or whatever you do with your transaction data, it's nice and available and aggregated between both your e-commerce side and your mobile processing side. One other thing that we recently announced is a complete mobile point-of-sale solution. We partnered with another iPhone app called Ring It Up Point of Sale by Thingisoft. And if you have both apps installed, you can keep track of your sales and then just tap Accept Credit Card Payment and process your card or process a card and apply it to a sales ticket. The two apps are really a natural fit. It's an interesting solution.
What's that other application called again?
The other application is called Ring It Up Point of Sale, and it's also in the App Store.
Ring It Up Point of Sale. And your company, your site is InnerFence.com. I'm going to spell that. That's I-N-N as in Nancy, E-R, F as in Frank, E-N-C-E, InnerFence.com. And Derek Del Conte, the co-founder of InnerFence, we want to thank you for your time today, sir.
Thank you, Kerry. I appreciate it.
That's all the time we have for this week's e-commerce conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. Please tune in next week for another new episode.